Namaste and good evening, everyone. We'll start with the prayers. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now we'll chant Mahamrityunjaya mantra 3 times to pray for those who are in the suffering, particularly during this pandemic. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhanam Mrityormukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhanam Mrityormukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhanan Mrityormukshiyamamrutat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome everyone. Today we have the second class of this Ramcharitmanas course. In the first one we had an introduction, and today we get into the book proper, starting with the first chapter, which is called Kanda here, Balakanda. So as I told you that Tulsidas starts with a lot of prayers to different deities and other people. So he starts with the prayers to Guru, which I covered last time. Just to show you this one, just one verse, I'll read it from here. Shri Guru Pad Nakh Manigan Jyoti Sumirat Divya Drushti Hi Hoti Dalan Moha Tamasu Saprakasu Bade Bhag Ur Avai Jasu. It means that the toenails, the nails of the feet of Shri Guru, they are like divine jewels. And the light of those jewels, if somebody just thinks of it, remembers it, a divine light dawns in his heart. And that light is capable of removing all the delusion and darkness of ignorance. And it is great fortune for one who has that light in his heart. So when I was preparing for this class and I was going through the book, one thing occurred to me, that it is so difficult to choose the sections which I want to cover and leave which ones to leave, because everything looks so amazing, so beautiful. The whole book is such a gem. Like, there are so many sayings which have become popular, like a daily sayings in India. There are so many quotations from the book. And so what I'm trying to do, I'll take some of the popular verses, quotes from the book, and explain along with that the whole storyline. I do not know, even that is looking like too much to cover in one class. Like for today, I try to do this much. And we'll see how much we can cover, because on the one hand, I do not want to rush through it because it is such a beautiful thing. On the other hand, we also have some sort of a limit in terms of time, in the time for every class and number of classes. So I'm proceeding this way, and then as we proceed, we progress and we'll find out how much can we cover, and if it is not doing the justice to the book, to the scripture, then we may change our approach. So we'll see accordingly. So Tulsidas Ji then prays to the saints. He salutes the saints. So he compares the saints. Who are the saints? First, he compares the saints to cotton plant. So he's saying that the conduct of holy man is like a cotton plant, can be compared to cotton plant. So I'll read the words. Sadhu charit subh charit kapasu niras visad gun mein phal jasu jo sahi dukh par chhidra durava bandaniya jahi jag jas pava. So the character of the saints is like cotton plant. So he is comparing them. The fruit of the cotton plant is nirasa, that is tasteless, vishada, white, and gunmaya, fibrous. So that is the characteristic of the fruit of the cotton plant. The sadhu's actions are also without any attachment. So tasteless here basically comparing that he doesn't have any taste, any attachment towards the fruits of his actions. White represents the purity. His actions are pure. And fibrous is something which is good for others, like fibrous food is good for others. So his actions do good to others. So in that sense, a saint is compared to the cotton tree. And another comparison. The cotton plant goes through a lot of processing in the form of ginning, spinning, and weaving. Ginning is the process by which you remove the seeds and other impurities from the cotton before making it the cotton cloth. So these are like sort of hardships or difficulties cotton goes through. But when cotton cloth eventually, despite facing all the difficulties, it covers others' faults or the bodies or the parts of the body we don't want to show, it covers those parts. Similarly, a saint also covers others' fault. That means does not see others' faults even if he gets troubled by other people. So that is the quality, common quality of the saint with a cotton plant. So that's how Tulsidas Ji has compared a saint with a cotton plant. Then he is saying that without the company of the saints, the wisdom does not dawn. So I'll read this verse. Binu satsang vivek na hoi, Ram krupa binu sulabh na soi, satsangat mud mangal mula, soi phal siddhi sab sadhan phula. This is a very popular saying. Binu satsang vivek na hoi. Without the company of holy, the wisdom does not dawn. What kind of wisdom? The wisdom of discrimination between real and unreal. That does not dawn upon one. And that company of holy and such association, it is very difficult to get without the grace of Lord. Contact with the noble souls, the holy company, is actually the source of joy and all auspiciousness. And people do a lot of sadhana, a lot of spiritual practices. Those are all compared like flowers, and the company with holy is considered like a fruit. So all these spiritual practices, they are meant to attain the company with the holy, by which the discrimination between real and unreal arises. Then he further talks about विधि हरिहर कवि को विद्वानी कहत साधु महिमा सकुचानी सोमोसन कही जात न कैसे साक बनिक मनि गुण गण जैसे. So there is so much glory of this holy company that even the Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, the three aspects of divinity, and also the great poets and wise people, they also hesitate to say that this alone is the glory of the holy company. So it is very difficult to put a limit to the glory of the company of the holy. So he's saying, if such is the company of the holy, how will I, such an ordinary person, will be describing it? It would look like as if a seller of the vegetables, fruit and vegetable seller, is trying to figure out the qualities of gems, or giving a lecture on quality of gems. So basically, like that, Tulsidas Ji is glorifying the company of the saints, company of the holy. Then after saluting the saints and the company of the holy, he then salutes the wicked people, not noble people. So this is very strange. Normally, you will find in many places that people pray to Lord, people pray to Guru, people pray to saints. But saluting the wicked people also, that is very unusual. So Tulsidas Ji prays to the wicked people. And how he describes them? जे पर दोष लखहि सह साखी, परहित घृत जिनके मन माखी, पर अकाज लगे तनु परे हरहि, जिमि हुम उपल कृषि दल गरहि. So on the saint side, he said that despite having the difficulties, saint does not see the faults of others. And for the wicked people, he is saying that they see the faults of others as if with thousands of eyes. Sometimes even without them having any concern about it at all, they are still finding the faults of others. They are still criticizing the others. And if somebody is prospering, if somebody is making some progress, in their mind, they try to figure out that how to spoil that. Just like a fly, house fly, spoils the ghee or the clarified butter. Clarified butter is considered a very pure and good food, and when fly falls into it, it spoils that food. He says that these people, they go to the extent that if they can do something bad to others, they do not mind their own sacrifice for that. They will be ready to face some difficulties if they can create the trouble for others, to the extent that even they can give up their life to create the problems for others. And he gives the example of this, that just like the hailstones, they destroy the crop and they dissolve after themselves. That means hailstone also attains the death, but it destroys the crop in the process. The next verse. बंदौ संत असज्जन चरना दुख प्रद उभय बीच कछु बरना बिछुरत एक प्राण हरि लेहि मिलन मिलत एक दुख दारुन देहि. So Tulsidas is saying, I am bowing to the feet of both saintly people and wicked people. They both cause some sorrow, which is common thing between them. But there is some difference. One causes sorrow when they depart from you, when they take your leave. Another causes the sorrow when they come to you. So that is the difference. Even though both can cause sorrow, but one on taking your leave, another on meeting. The next one. खल अघ अगुन साधु गुण गाहा उभय अपार उदधि अवगाहा तेहि ते कछु गुण दोष बखाने संग्रह त्याग न बिनु पहचाने. So Tulsidas ji is saying that it's not just the good qualities of the saints that are difficult to describe in totality. It is even the negative qualities of the wicked people. They are equally difficult to describe in totality, as if they are like boundless and unfathomable oceans. Therefore, my attempt is not try to describe them in totality, but just a little bit sample I am giving to you. Why is he saying? Why is he giving a sample? Because without knowing, it is not possible to decide that which qualities to acquire and which ones to give up. So you have to have some knowledge of positive and negative qualities in order to decide your course of action, that which ones you want to pursue and which ones you want to get rid of. And then he is saying that both saintly qualities of saints and the negative qualities of the wicked people, they both are coming from Lord only. So next verse he is saying, Jad chetan gun dosh mein vishwakin kartar sant hans gun gahi pe parihari bari vikar. That's how the world has been created by the Lord. It is comprising of the conscious and insentient beings. It is comprising of the negative and positive, the good qualities and the bad qualities. That's how the world is. But the saintly person, a person who is a seeker, a spiritual person, just like a Hamsa is the swan. So there is a belief that if you give to swan a milk mixed with water, he will take the milk and leave the water. As per the modern scientific analysis, it is because of some acid in swan's tongue which creates that separation, and swan able to take the milk. Whatever the reason is, this particular example of swan having the capability to take the milk and leaving the water, even when they are mixed before it is given to him, it is many a times used as a simile for knowledge of discrimination between real and unreal, between good and bad. And therefore, if you look at the great yogi, is recognized as a Paramhamsa, like Paramhamsa Yogananda, Paramhamsa Hariharananda, Paramhamsa Pragyanananda. Paramam is supreme, so supreme swan, those who have attained or recognized the highest truth. So this Hamsa has been used a lot in spiritual literature because of this particular quality. So Tulsidas ji also comparing a saint person, a spiritual seeker should behave in such a manner that just like swan, he should take the milk that is good qualities and leave out the water like negative, for example, negative quality in the form of evil. So he contrasts the, which we already covered, the saints and evil-minded. Then he is saluting the all living beings. आकर 4,84,000 जाति जीव जल थल नभवासी सिय राम मैं सब जग जानी करऊं प्रणाम जोर जुग पानी. As per the belief in Vedic religion, there are 8.4 million species of living beings, including the ones either on the ground, in the water, or in the air. So there are total, all the living beings, they are identified in the 8.4 million species. As per the modern scientific analysis, the number is a little higher, but because I think they count a lot of subspecies also. So Tulsidas is saying that all these 8.4 million types of living beings, the whole world, I am perceiving as my Lord himself. With Rama and Sita, the creation, recognize the entire creation as full of Sita and Rama. I salute them with my hands folded. Then next ones, Jani Krupa Kar Kinkar Mohu सब मिल करहु झाड़ी छल छोहु निज बुद्धि बल भरोस मोहि नाही ताते बिनय करऊं सब पाही करन चाहऊं रघुपति गुण गाहा लघुमति मोरि चरित अवगाहा सूझ न एकौ अंग उपाऊ मनमति रंक मनोरथ राऊ जो बालक कहतो तरि बाता सुनहि मुदित मन पितु अरु माता हंसियहि कूर कुटिल को बिचारी जे पर दूषण भूषण धारी. So he is praying to all the beings that look, I am really nobody, I am like your servant. So I am seeking your affection. Please give me your affection, you all compassionate people. I have no trust in my own intelligence. Therefore, I am saluting you all. Look at the humility of Tulsidas ji. And he is saying that I really want to sing the glories of the Lord. That's all I want. But where is my intellect and where is the glory of the Lord? I have so little intellect and glory of the Lord is like unfathomable ocean. I'm not able to figure out a way that it is like my intellect is like a beggar, but the desire is for the kingdom. But he gives an instance, just like a child, an innocent child. He says something that whatever he talks, that innocent child, the small child, doesn't have much of any significance. It is not even grammatically correct, may not make any cogent sentences, but still the parents and the ones who love the child, they feel very joyous just listening to that kind of talk from the child. But people who look at the faults of others, they laugh at them. So he's saying, I am like that small child. I don't have any intellect, I don't have any trust that I can, because of my intellect, I can accomplish this work of writing this book, singing Lord's glory. So I'm praying to all of you. When I was reading, I was looking at myself also. For Tulsidas, it's a big humility because he was a great person, great devotee. But for me, truly, I don't know much. I hardly know even the book as it is, and I'm trying to conduct this course. So it is my prayer to all of you also that just like Tulsidas ji here is saying, out of humility, but for me it seems like that's how my state is right now. My intellect is really very little compared to conducting this course on this book. Then Tulsidas ji further describes that regarding his poetry. So I'll read this one. Bhaniti mori sab gun rahit, vishwa vidit gun ek, so vichar sunhai sumate jinke bimal vivek. यही मैं रघुपति नाम उदारा, अति पावन पुराण श्रुति सारा, मंगल भवन अमंगल हारी, उमा सहित जहि जपत पुरारी. He is saying that my composition doesn't have much of any qualities. It is very ordinary. But there is one thing. There is one great merit in it. And what is that merit? That merit is that it is actually singing the glories of the Lord's name. It has Lord's name in it. Raghupati is the Lord of Raghu, that is another name for Rama. It has the name of Lord Rama in it. That makes it very holy because it has been extolled by all the other scriptures, Vedas and Puranas. That name is indeed abode of all the blessings and remover of evils. Lord Shiva chants that name of Rama along with his consort Uma all the time. Then he further, out of humility, he says, Je janme kalikal karala, kartab bayas besh marala, chalat kupanth ved mag chhane, kapat kalevar kalimal bhane, vanchak bhagat kahai ram ke, किंकर कंचन कोह काम के, तिन में प्रथम रेख जग मोरी, धींग धर्म ध्वज धंधक धोरी, जो अपने अवगुण सब कहूं, बाड़ई कथा पार नहीं लहूं, ताते में अति अलप बखाने, थोरे महु जाने हई सयाने. So Tulsidas is saying that in this terrible age of Kali, so as per the Hindu belief, there are 4 ages of time, 4 periods of time. Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And it is believed that men acquire more and more negative qualities in these 4 periods of time in that order. So Satyuga is the best. It has the most, people are really pious and having positive qualities. And Kali Yuga, which currently we are in, that is the abode of all the negative qualities. And then again, this cycle repeats. So Tulsidas is saying that those who are born in this terrible age of Kali Yuga, their actions are not good, but they show off. They are very good in showing off. So it is like the garb of a swan, that is the white, pure, and the actions of a crow, doings of a crow. Crow is like black and his voice is also not considered pleasant. These people who are hypocrites, who are walking the path which is opposite to the path shown by the scriptures, and who are imposters, claiming that they are the devotees of the Lord, but in essence, they are the slaves of desire, anger, and greed. He's saying among these kind of people, I am the first one. Consider me as the firstborn among these kind of people. Among the unscrupulous, hypocritical, and intriguers. If I were to recount all my negative qualities, it will make the size of the book a very long one, and yet I may not be able to finish with them. Therefore, not going in too much detail my personal shortcomings, I'm just giving you a little bit sample, little bit just telling you about myself, my shortcomings. The people who are wise, they will understand just by this short description that there are a lot of negative qualities in me, lot of negative sin. So again, as I said, for Tulsidas ji, of course, he was a great devotee of Lord. He is, after more than 500 years, we still have this book, and it has shown the path to so many people. It is definitely his utter humility with which he is saying this thing. But again, if I look at myself, quite a bit of it is applicable for myself. Then Tulsidas ji is glorifying the name, just name of Lord, Ram. So even though it's written as Rama, and in Sanskrit we pronounce as Rama, the way in Hindi it works, we don't pronounce the last akara. So we just say Ram. So in Hindi and some other Indian languages, that's how the culture has become, not saying Rama, but Ram. So I may be using both, particularly reading the poem, I would use Ram because that's how the meter would be making sense. And explain in English, most of the times I will say Rama, but sometimes I may say Ram. So just understand that it is the same thing. The difference is coming primarily because of this reason. This book is written in Hindi, and in Hindi it will be called Ram. So he's saying the glory of the name, the glory of the divine name. So he is bowing down to Rama and Sita, and then he's saying, Gira arath jal beech sam kahiyat bhinna na bhinna bannau Sita Ram pad jinai param priya khin. So he's comparing Rama and Sita is like Gira and Arath. Gira means the speech, the words, and Arath means the meaning of it. then Jala and Beachy. So Jala is the water, Beach is the waves. So wave is made of water only. Wave and water, really there is no difference. The word and its meaning, it is contained within. The meaning of the word is contained within the word itself. So they are one yet different. And then he is saying regarding the name, the glory of the name, he is calling it Mahamantra, the great mantra. Mahamantra joi japat mahesu, kasi mukuti hetu upadesu, mahima jasu jan gan rao, pratham pujiyat nama prabhao, jan adi kabi nama pratapu, bhayau suddh kari ulta japu. So he's saying that this great mantra, just the name of the Lord Shiva, he is able to give the liberation to people just by giving this name into their ears. So there is a belief in Kashi or the Varanasi. Currently, modernly, it's known as Varanasi or the city of Kashi. It is the city of Lord Shiva. This city, even in the known history, there has been thousands of years of known history of this city. A very holy city in India. And it is considered the city of Lord Shiva. There is a belief that anybody who dies in Varanasi or Kashi, he becomes liberated. And the way he becomes liberated, it is said that at the last moment, Lord Shiva comes to him, tells the name of Rama in his right ear, his or her right ear, and the person gets liberated by the effect of that name in the last moment. So he's saying it's such a great, the glory of the name, that this great mantra becomes the reason for liberation when people die in Kashi. Then he's giving another example. Whenever we do worship, any ritual ceremony, the first deity to be worshipped is Lord Ganesha. And he's saying that how did Lord Ganesha attain that status that he should be worshipped first? And again, this is because of the name. The story goes like this. Once upon a time, there was debate among all the celestial beings that who is greatest among us all. And then they could not come to a conclusion. One of them suggested, let us try this. One who is able to go around this whole universe and come first, let that person be considered the greatest deity, and let the deity be worshipped first because he or she is the greatest deity. So everybody agreed, and they all started participating in that competitive race around the universe to make a circumambulation of the whole universe. So Lord Ganesha, he has he is known as elephant god, and if you have seen his picture, generally he is shown as a big belly, a heavy body, and his vehicle, every deity has a vehicle. His vehicle is mouse, very tiny. So how fast can mouse go? Taking Ganesha on his back. So Ganesha was naturally left in the last, very behind. Everybody else is going further. So he is a little sad. And then Lord Narada comes to him. He sees Lord Narada, calls him for help. So Lord Narada tells that, look, the whole universe is created by Lord Rama and contained in his name. So you just write his name on the ground and just go around that name. That will be equivalent to circumambulating the whole universe. There is another story that he was told that to circumambulate around his parents, and that would constitute the circumambulation of the whole universe. Whatever the case is, as per this story here, Lord Ganesha wrote the name Rama and just went around it, and he was declared winner because of that. And he is worshipped the first, again because of the glory of, again because of the effect of the name. That is the glory of the name. Then he is giving another example. Adi Kavi. So Valmiki is considered the first poet of humankind. I told you last time also, the Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, that is considered the first human work of literature. So he also became such a great poet saint because of the name. And the story goes like this. Valmiki, before he became Valmiki the saint, he was a robber named Ratnakar. And he was a highway robber. So people, when they are going and he finds them alone, he robs them, kills them, takes their money. And that's how he was taking care of himself and his family. Once sage Narada was going through that route, and he caught hold of him. Some say sage Narada, some say 7 saints, but whatever. Some let's say sage Narada. Sage Narada was going through that route, and he caught hold of Narada. So Narada asked him, "You are taking all this, my money, you are killing people. You know that this is a wrong thing to do." And Ratnakara said, "Yes, I know it's a wrong thing to do. But I have no other way. I have to take care of my family. I have to eat and I have to feed them." So he said, "You know, the fruits of this negative act will also be negative. Are you willing to take all the negative fruits of these actions of yours?" And he said, "Why should I only will be taking? Because my family also will be sharing in them, because I'm taking care of them also from this money." So Narada said, "Why don't you just go home and ask them if they are willing to share in the negative fruits of these actions?" And Ratnakara said, "I know you are very clever. You will run away when I go home, so I'm not going to come into your sweet talks." So Narada said, "No, that's not the case. You tie me with a tree here, and you can go home and then come back again." So that's what he did. He tied Narada to a tree and goes home. And home, he asked the parents that, "Look, do you know how am I taking care of you? How am I bringing the food to you?" They said, "We don't know. I mean, you must be doing something." But he said, "I am robbing and sometimes killing people." And they got so upset. They said, "What? You are doing all these things? And you are taking care of us? You are doing a disfavor to us." So he said that is fine. I mean, I'm not doing a good thing, but I want to know whether you are willing to share in the fruits of my negative actions. And parents said, "Why should we? It is your duty. We took care of you when you were a child. Now it is your duty, as per the scriptural injunctions, that you should take care of us. We would prefer that you do the right things, but we are not willing to share in your negative actions or the fruits of negative actions." So he was a little shocked. He talks to his wife. Wife says the same thing. "I'm your wife, I am serving you, and it is your duty to take care of me." And children also said the same thing. So he had taken this highway robbery primarily to take care of his family, because he loved his family. And now he was so shocked when he heard all these proclamations from them that they are not going to take care of him. So he comes back, unties Narada from the tree, falls down at his feet, and he said, "What you are saying is true. What will happen to me? I have done so many negative activities, so many sins, that it will be lives and lives before I will be able to go through all this. What should I do?" So saints' heart is always very soft. They do not take much account of the sins and negative activities. So Narada suggested him that all you do is just chant the name of the Lord and it will take care of it. It is said that because of Ratnakara's negative actions, his mind had become so impure that he could not even take the name of the Lord. The name of the Lord would not come out of his mouth, or he would not find any interest in chanting the name of the Lord. Even such a simple name, Rama. When Narada saw this condition of Ratnakara, he said, okay, don't worry about it. You just say Mara in the reverse, like Rama and Mara. So he started saying Mara, 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 Mara. So it became like Mara, 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 Rama, Rama, Rama. So by chanting it opposite, it still became like Rama, 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 Rama. And just doing that chanting, just by that meditating and chanting the name, Ratnakara became sage Valmiki. His name became Valmiki because he got so immersed in chanting and meditating on the name that he went into samadhi. His body was taken as some sort of a thing by the ants to make anthill. So they made anthill all around his body. Anthill is known as Valmiki in Sanskrit. So that's how his name became Valmiki. So as I was thinking, our time, we have run out of the time, and there were a few more verses which I was thinking to cover. So we'll cover it in the next class on Saturday, and we'll see if I can add some more to it. I would probably prefer not to rush through it because it is such an interesting story and so many interesting teachings. So with this, I conclude today's class, and I would invite any of your comments and questions. And also, how would you like this classes to be covered? So there is a question, will I be sharing the class notes? So I can share this. This is like the part I have already given in Ramcharitmanas. So this is just taking, so yes, actually, let me tell you what I have done here is I have created this Google Drive. There is a folder on Google Drive. So this I'll share with you right now. I'll send you in the chat box for everybody. As also I mentioned the email for those who are not attending. This has the Sri Ramcharitmanas Gita Press book, the whole PDF copy. And what I'm taking basically from this only. So the notes are not any different than this. So it is just exactly the same thing. So if you go down, you will see like the Devanagari, transliteration, translation. So that I'm sharing with you. Then there are some other documents like list of characters in Ramayana that may be useful for many people from the West who are not exposed to the story and the characters in Ramayana. Ramayana and Ramcharitmanas, same thing. The story is the same. So many people call Ramcharitmanas also as Ramayana, even though Ramayana was originally written by Valmiki. So this is a good thing for people to read, and even for many Indians who are exposed to the story, they will learn a few things. So this is a Wikipedia article I found, and I printed as PDF, as well as I'm sharing the links here. So this is the link of this list of characters in Ramayana. So this folder I'm sharing, I'll share with you, and let me do that right now for those who are on the call, and later on I'll send it into the email to everybody. So this is the folder for the drive, Google Drive. So this folder is already shared. So any questions or comments? Otherwise, we can conclude the class with the prayers. Yes, so there is a question here. The Ramayana was written by Valmiki and the Ramcharitmanas written by Tulsidas. That is correct. Ramcharitmanas was written by Tulsidas. Ramayana was written by Valmiki. Remember, this is the Ramayana, the original one, which is written by Valmiki. That is in Sanskrit, a much bigger book than Ramcharitmanas, 24,000 verses. And there has been thousands of times people have written Ramayana based upon the same story, the retellings of Ramayana, you can see. Ramcharitmanas, out of them, has become extremely famous and popular. But there are, so all these other retellings of Ramayana also in general, they are called Ramayana. Even though they would have a little bit different name like Kamba Ramayana, Adhyatma Ramayana, Adbhut Ramayana, but many of them are just as referred to Ramayana and including Ramcharitmanas. So many times people refer to Ramcharitmanas or Manas as Ramayana. Anyone else? Okay, so if there are no more questions or comments, I would close the class with the prayers. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you everyone.